Hello and welcome back to the wrong side of reality. This is your host as always, Snow the First. Last time we dealt with Porcubus and did our best we can to deal with the abnormality. And this time my stream deck is malfunctioning again, which is rather irritating. This is admittedly going to be more of an intermission day of sorts. We do have someone new to work with, Naked Nest over here, but we're not actually... But other than that, this is basically just a day. Where is... You? You get down here in case of censored. Honestly, the main thing we're working towards right now is getting to the point where we can do the core suppression to then see how successful we are at said core suppression and go from there. And to do that, we need to get through a few days that are kinda filler. But for now, let's figure out what training we can do today. Kennelly could do some fortitude work. Let's have them work on the Naked Nest. See what that does for them. Noah could also use... No, Noah needs it more badly. Kennelly I could maybe send somewhere else. Yeah, now I'm gonna have bounce back and forth between. Okay, what do we need? 46 boxes for the third suit and 56 for 102 roughly. Have a round. The one thing we need to be careful of with this specific abnormality that I remember is that anytime it does neutral work, we need to check that they didn't get infected. Hopefully that's not the biggest deal. Noah is not doing well so far. Don't tell me we're gonna have a reset already. That's the animation I was thinking of. The worms only pop up. The worms only pop up when you're actively working on it. Oh, that was a green result, so completely moot point. Still something to be careful of. Okay, anything else? What did I want to do with Kennelly? Kennelly I might send over to Extraction to work on the abnormalities over there. What I may start doing is start training up the team captains to be ready for what's to come. Okay, I think Adam and Maxim super need their justice boosted, so their thing today is gonna be working on their shoots. Their fray shoots. Emma, I'm gonna send them up to work with the Snow Queen. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna keep doing my best to try and patch up agents that are not doing that well, because we have very hard tasks ahead. Now, what did I want to talk about today? Well, a thought I had after watching a couple of videos is how different people react to something depending at what point in their lives they encountered it. Because I have now seen two different people review one of my all-time favorite games, Spyro 2. And interestingly, both those people had different reactions to the game, where they both the reviewers felt they liked the game, but they also felt that for a game that's called Ripto's Revenge, there's a stunning lack of Ripto in it. I guess it literally doesn't matter what I put you in. I would say Wolf for the game. And the thing is, I had no such thoughts when I was little. To me, I didn't care about how frequently Ripto may or may not have appeared in the game. Just that I knew that every time he did appear, it was gonna be for a very funny scene. But I played Spyro 2 as a kid. I was in the age range for the game, and the two reviewers were playing it as adults. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with this kind of discussion. Okay, you are up here. Start boosting up your prudence, because it's your new worst stat. I was gonna do that all day. And maybe throw you at a work on the radio just to get the smallest smidge of repression. Because I don't think there's anyone else nearby I could do that with. I guess I could send you for a round of repression over here if I really wanted to boost it that bad. I'll think about it. But yeah, I guess in that same vein, it helps that when it helps that Ripto impressed me because I was a child, because he has what I consider one of the cooler final boss themes. For whatever reason that they decided at Insomniac, they gave Ripto dramatic opera as his final boss theme, and it's just gonna be like, hell yeah! That's getting me pretty amped for the battle. Okay, so these two guys need temperaments. I guess the question is, do I want to send them on Queen Bee or send them down to Extraction instead? Because that would leave Parker here alone, and while I trust him, I'm not sure if he's like a solo agent in the same way Misona is, or Emma, or I'm hashing out my options is what I'm saying. It says hi, but do I trust that? I'm not sure I do. That temperaments is way too low. Yeah, I'll send them to Extraction again instead. If a threat needs to be taken care of, I'll have the captain come back and deal with it. Although I'm so used to seeing Amelia in Sound of Star, I didn't recognize her down here. But yeah, Amelia's close enough that she should be able to handle it. I guess while we're waiting for that travel to happen, let's see what Repression with Burrowing Heaven looks like. Just to see if I can add that to the cycle or not. Although speaking about how you can have different interpretations of something as an adult than you did as a kid, it is very fun that it's pointed out that in one hub world, Spyro runs into this ongoing war between a bird species and a slug species. Why they're at war is never explained. We don't know why these guys hate each other, just that they do. But the thing being, Spyro basically helps both sides. Oh! Pansy! Get over there. Silent orchestra, everyone! Now I know not to do that shit again. That could have gone so much worse. And they went back in. We actually saw this. If you restore the sanity of someone that lost their sanity, they immediately go back in. I did remember that, which is why I wasn't that worried. I did see that Emma had been at risk at being made to panic, but I also knew Pansy was right there with her scythe. So it was a risk, but I did still know what I was doing, for the most part. I'd been hoping Emma's temperaments would be high enough to see through the work with Burrowing Heaven, but I guess not. Right, after that goddamn scare, I need to finish my thought. Basically, Spyro does nothing to solve this war. He actively prolongs it and just kind of goes on his merry way, because whatever these two species have with each other, their beef, is not really his business. I guess in the same realm of nostalgia, while the Reignited trilogy had a lot of changes that could be said to be for the better, there were some changes that were kind of like, this is different from what I remember, I don't like it. How valid those that complaint may or may not be, I guess, varies. Because speaking of that ongoing war, Zephyr had one of the more unique theme songs, where it was like some kind of strange banjo theme to reflect the slugs that inhabited the world. And then, for whatever reason, they just had a random meow in the middle of the soundtrack every so often. And I think they removed that for the new version, and I'm just kind of like, but why? That's what made the theme so charming. Okay. First things first, boosting up Gabriella's prudence a bit. She's fine. Emilia, you need more justice and temperaments. Nope. That is no good for this. I would need to go somewhere else. I don't think I have anyone that does temperaments attachment nearby. Well, shoot. In that case, I might send her to do repression with Blue Star. Because I know she can manage that no problem. Ow. Ow. Another change between the original and the reignited that bothers me maybe more than it should also raises a bit of a question. Because one of the early levels was about a bunch of like wood carvers that had their tiki carvings come to life and start to harass them. And for the end of level cutscene in the original, there's this kind of mildly threatening scene where one of the tiki people starts kind of just emerging from the water and approaching the wood carvers in like a threatening manner, and you think it's gonna be bad, but then the tiki pulls out a sausage, to join in on the bonfire and roast his sausage, and none of the wood carvers were fazed by it at all. Now for the Reignited trilogy, they changed it to have the wood carvers look significantly more uncomfortable by the presence of the guy, and it's just kind of by the presence of the tiki, and it's just kind of like, I kind of don't like how it changes the vibe of the scene. It's kind of like, does it actually matter how much them changing this? Maybe not, but it still kind of bothers me. Might have me Sona do a round of repression with Burrowing Heaven, because she can handle it, I know for a fact. Gonna try to boost some of the stats from our heavy hitters while I'm doing this. This is making me want to replay Spyro. The original and the Reignited trilogy, because there were some very fun platforming times. Alright, I do have another topic I want to discuss, but I'm going to save it for after we go over to the next cycle, because you don't want to not pay attention in LobCorp. Jose, where is Jose? Or... no, Jose. The first, the original, accept no substitutes. Maxed out Prudence, but not much of anything else. Do some attachment grinding with Punishing Bird. Okay, Flesh Idol, that's not a big deal. Amelia can take that lickety split. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you to TQ for having that very handy way of knowing how many times to do Flesh Idol before you get out safely. 5 ticks of damage. No more, no less. I don't think we currently have an extraction team captain, but say it anyways. Oh, Jesus. Who would that be for this area? Delaney, maybe. Oh wait, it is her! She got... Today's the day she gets made captain. Yeah, it even says the bonus right there. And she's wearing In the Name of Love and Hate, so it's actually a pretty good bonus. God damn, Delaney. Oh, but next we have clowns. We need to start putting people in corridors. Or you know what? I'm gonna run through this, and at the end, I'm going to do it. I kind of want to throw Emilia onto Naked Nest, because she would be the one least likely to screw it, do a bad, and get infected. I did want to train other people, but it kind of feels like the other... Noah feels risky, is what I'm saying. Might have her attack instinct grind off Letitia instead. Now that's why I would rather put it at a 0% chance, if at all possible. Something else that's very interesting is that the various residents of the worlds you visit in Spyro 2 can run the gamut from completely innocent, like the seahorses who had their water deprived, to absolute assholes, like some of the satyrs from those worlds. Because there was a very specific world of satyrs, I forget which, where the people there are like absolute assholes to each other. Like the opening cutscene was a volcano erupting and a rock landing on a dude, and the other dude's just like, well, not my problem. It is something. Well, I guess it depends on the group, because there's the satyrs that are absolute jerks, and then there's the other satyrs whose only crime was playing music overly loud on their bagpipes. That one also had one of my favorite cutscenes, because the conflict is that the stone people there hated the pan flute playing. The Stone Hill ones were the musical satyrs. The volcanic crater one were the assholes. But like I was saying, the conflict of Stone Hills is that the rock creatures there hate the pan flutes, so they turn the satyrs to stone to make it stop. So of course, after Spyro rescues them, they go back to playing. But one of the stone creatures, upon seeing that everyone's covering their ears, actually starts to secretly dance along with it. Those little before and after cutscenes, I think, might have been exclusive to Spyro 2, and it's a shame because it added so much charm. Like it was a way to flesh out the residents of the world. At the rate this is going, I'm just gonna spend the entire stream talking about Spyro cutscenes. Oh yeah, that had been another complaint. How they felt this... the people that reviewed the, I was wondering why the, numbers looked kind of weird on these. It's because of, pleasure. That's why Emma botched that so badly. No wonder. I was wondering what the problem was. That's that mystery solved. Kennelly also did your bright shoots. But yeah, those reviews I mentioned before also observed and complain about it. About the fact that the second hub world has had more levels, and it kind of made that specific hub world kind of outstay its welcome a bit. Which, fair. It is a very big hub world with levels all over their place. Okay, we're not doing that again. One of the problems is that because of the way I have everyone set up, it might not be easy to get everyone to a hallway. I would say, if nothing else, have someone in the most critical hallways. That's stuff we absolutely cannot afford to have no thing. could do that. The second one feels like it might be a bit more viable, especially since Bina's gonna be one of those days where the main goal is not gonna be working as such, but focusing on the battle. Okay, need to start getting people in hallways. Okay, Parker, you guard this hall. Right, the pale attacks. Whoops, I forgot that was a thing you needed to be careful of. I would say you, since White Weapon, can guard the King of Greed hallway. I guess the question then becomes, how do I know what attack is which? Although I guess it's one of those things that I'll only know when it happens. Would Pale Shields help in any way? Especially if it's with Justita. Had to ask. I'm gonna take a No, that's not the one I wanted. Quick break. Need bathroom. Hi, sorry about that. That doesn't usually happen, but I guess some things just can't be helped. Now, what the? Right, I was putting people in hallways. Because it's about to go down. Speaking of hallways, I keep forgetting to do this. I do not have Discord on in my computer. I have it on my phone. My phone's just very loud. On a related note, I got a new phone recently. I'm still getting used to it, but I was glad to have it replaced. Okay, just making sure. Didn't want to think I was leaving valuable weapons on the table. I don't think I've forgotten a hallway at this point. Oh, and do attachment work on the bathtub, just to kick us off. Oh, goody! A violet immediately after. Boy, don't you just love it when a noon happens immediately after a fray? Yeah, your records normally. Back to the center room with you. That just makes me feel better. I'm moving everyone back from the hallways, but I'll just have to move them back later. Okay, I think that should be everyone. I should be good to just, keep going. Well, I guess it's not sweepers, at least. That would have been very annoying. Why does that say London and not Amelia? You know what? You need the fortitude anyway. I'm just gonna keep grinding it out. I keep thinking London is Amelia because London's the one with Sound of Star now. How much did I calculate would be needed for this? 100 and some odd. Was there something else I wanted to say about Spyro, or do we move on to something else? Here's a question to consider. I do know some things about Library of Ruina, just by nature of being in the Project Moon fandom. And, the people you face off against have varied levels of sympathy that people have for their plight. But the one that everyone definitely gravitates towards the most is Zhao. If that's how you pronounce her name. When it comes to librarian guests that should have won, people definitely bring up Zhao the most. I guess it helps that she's one of the boss encounters that is tough but fair and has a Millie song backing her up. In the Project Moon universe, you know shit's gone down when the Millie song kicks up. It does bring up the interesting idea that more often than not, you are meant to be on the same side as your protagonist, especially in a video game. But there are those rare types that it's like, You know what? I actually want to lose. Oh, Punishing Bird has broken out. We've reached the halfway point. There's Punishing Bird doing Punishing Bird things. A perfect run on that. Nice. Or I guess not nice, because damage is how you get levels in this game. That's always the thing that kind of gets me about this game. You want your agents to hurt a little, but not too much that they die or get a bad work. Emilia's repression is gonna be so impressive by the end of this. The Snow Queen lore? Sure, I can do that right now. Hello. It's always a surprise when I get guests. A queen lives alone in the frosty winter forest. Like how every story starts, Kai was a child with a kind heart. When the shards of a mirror made by an evil fairy were scattered on everyone's heart, Kai began to see things he didn't want to see or need to see. He left the small village he grew up in. In an unforgiving blizzard, Kai met the Snow Queen. He became curious of the world beyond his knowledge. He felt as though everything he knew amounted to so little. The snow palace he reached was so cold, but the Snow Queen's kiss froze his heart, and he couldn't feel the cold anymore. There was no joy in the palace, only the long winter night. Gerda was strong enough to remain unpierced by the mirror, and brave enough to go on a journey to rescue Kai, so she set off to the Snow Palace. The journey was agonizing. Gerda was hurt and pained, and sometimes she cried. However, eventually Gerda met Kai. Spring arrived with blossoming roses. Its warmth melted the Snow Queen's palace, and the piece of mirror in Kai's heart evaporated without a trace. Then, left all alone, the Snow Queen omitted. I remember the day we put her in the Cairo coffin with our own hands. At some point, her joyous laughter was gone. She cycled through laughing and crying, and eventually she was found in a bathtub and soaked in red with her wrists. We did not believe in death. I will have her reconstructed from the machines I have detested for my entire life, but have become the only answer. She would have been disgusted by me for this, dying in that bathtub. However, we were far too down the road, filled with remorse and regret to feel any sort of guilt. One day, it spoke to me. I remember you. You were a kind-hearted person. The moment I heard it, I was seized by the urge to destroy what I created with my own hands. Why in the name of Iron will they put such lore in such an obscure place? Why Snow Queen of all abnormalities? I have questions now. I never knew that was there. Although speaking of which, I did get the other abnormality that directly relates to the event in question. This guy. It is kind of weird that they have these little bits and pieces of lore scattered across different abnormalities. Another one that's kind of interesting in that regard that is not currently in our facility here is the Forsaken Murderer. Because he's kind of patient zero in the abnormality creation process. However, by the time he popped up, it was too late to matter. I think that's Forsaken Murderer, at least. One of, if not the first. Right, Jose needed more thing. More attachment. Our friend here. Unfortunately, at least right here, it doesn't have any kind of details of that. I guess that might be something that you only learn in Ruina. I'd love to keep talking about this, but in about 5 minutes, a bunch of monoliths are gonna land on everyone's head. Is it the very first floor, Keter? Or however you pronounce that? Go figure. A part of me wants to get to Ruina because I hear the story's very good. But I need to do my time here first. My honor demands it. At the point we're in, Violet Noon should be a non-issue, but still mildly annoying. Why does it feel like I'm missing something from my usual routine? Jose, where are you? 18 days? That doesn't seem right. I'm pretty sure you were one of the first people I ever created. I need to check my work log here. It kind of feels like I've forgotten something. Oh, Canelli working with Dershoots as well, that's what. Okay, I'll do that after Jose finishes with Big Bird here. If you want to know just how crazy this playthrough has been so far, look at this guy, or gal. I beat that. It wasn't easy, but I beat it. Okay. Let the games begin. Look at this bottom row of absolute chaos. And look at this other bottom row of even more chaos. My facility is something. That's an inconvenient place for you to put yourself. Where's the control one? There's the control one. Okay, let's run it. Done. Everyone back to your stations. Oh, and the convenient part is that killed so many clerks for me that I don't have to worry about Queen of Hatred. Are we gonna hit the goal for this at the end of this cycle? Every so often, I just look at her. I look at her and remind myself that of what I've done to myself willingly. The good news is I think this next work is going to be enough to get the gear, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, God. The funny thing is that we've had almost no meltdowns today because it's been nothing but ordeals so far. Sure. I can never remember what I have and have not already done. And I will never stop irritating me that this black space is here. I know what's supposed to go there, but it doesn't make it any less annoying that it's there right now. Owie, Canel. What the heck is happening to you this work? Well, that really hurt, but I guess that also means more gains. Everyone knows exactly one song from Imagine Dragons, Radioactive, and that's it. At least that's the only song I know by them. That reminds me. I give core suppression song titles whenever they come around. Hokma is coming up, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with him. I already know the one for Dina. I just haven't thought of one for Hokma yet. I am open to suggestions. A song title that you feel sums up Hokma well. Yeah, Imagine Dragons really feels like it came and went. Who is Time in a Bottle by? I've heard of that song, I just don't know the artist. The one for Hokma I'm kicking around in my head right now is Volver a Comenzar. That is Spanish, for anyone that might not understand it, and translated to English, it means to begin again. The general theme of the song is about someone that is spouting hypotheticals of what they would do if they had a chance to do their life over. And at that point, you might begin to see the connection. It wouldn't actually be the first time I used a Spanish song title for a core suppression either. Gebra here, when I did her, got La Bestia Humana, the human beast. Although second place for her that I kind of regret not using is Knights of Sidonia by Muse. Maybe I'll reuse Knights of Sidonia for when I get to the Gebra portion of Ruina. Running in the 90s I've heard of. I know by reputation, because it's very popular for montage artists. Yeah, it looks like we're just barely not gonna make it for this. Oh well. Here's a question for you then, Tokno. Favorite Millie song from Olympus? Also, Punishing Bird broke out. Compass is very quality, very true. For me, it's probably Hero from Don Quixote's Canto. Very good song, also very ow. Ow, my everything. Live version of Compass? I know Millie does concerts, I just haven't watched them yet. I'll have to look it up though. Give me the name of the concert so I can search it up on YouTube. Okay, we're gonna have some meltdowns over here, so gotta get ready. What's the damage? Censored, Letitia, and with the Biggin will be back. I would say Bella, you take that because you have higher resistance. Way ahead of you. Okay, Letitia can just be Noah. And Censored is Emilia. That's the entire reason she's here. Back to what we were saying, Through the Patches of Violet is also a quality one. Also very unique because the final variation of that particular theme uses two singers. And I love how that was executed. Earlier I was talking about Zhao from Library of Ruina, and that's because YouTube put Iron Lotus on my recommendations. God damn, Iron Lotus is very good. Speaking of two voices, the pass-on version for Don Quixote's Castle, Don Quixote's Canto, has two singers at one point, and it's Don Quixote's VA doing both. And the idea is that after everything, Sancho and Don Quixote are basically truly one. It's actually very nice like that. A lot of people say Gregor's is the best. The one I remember a lot is Yi Sang's Pass On, for turning into rap halfway through or something. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, I got some more justice, more attachment, more prudence. That is very much what I wanted to see. Could be better, but much better. Also, a significant improvement. We are cooking. We really got to do something about that prudence, though. There's gonna be a tool abnormality, but we're not gonna see it on the field, because we gotta keep pushing Hokma. Of all the times for... Okay. I'll just take behavior adjustment and go. This would be nice if we were facing Bina, but we're not facing Bina, we're facing Hokma. Time for me to do the thing where I voice act everything. Gonna drink some lemonade before I start. This place, where there was once only silence, perhaps because it was only you and I here, it has gotten a bit livelier thanks to the Sephiroth. Unlike me, they were weak and lacked rationality. They made so many mistakes that greatly annoyed me. I did not approve of you placing the Sephiroth here. However, you told me that your atonement and the awakening of the Sephiroth were the key to the untying of this knot I lie in. I didn't know what you were talking about. You also told me I wouldn't understand. You even blocked me from interfering with that relationship, saying that it must be left solely as your role. You were right as always. Even if I stay here repeating this endlessly, I suppose I still won't be worthy of understanding it till the end. To quote one of your favorite lines, a machine must behave as a machine. So I had to play the role of the observer, the only role you bothered to give me, enduring all the pain that others forgot. I don't think I'll have to point that out again. I have finished casting the rolls for the upper and middle layer Sephiroth. It's likely that this will not be the last time I do so. I may have to tell them again what I have already instructed countless times. However, you two will be different. You clearly understand why this facility exists and what your missions are. I expect that you will not exhaust me as the ones above do. Just keep this in mind. I will not come down here to the lower layer unless the circumstances require me so. That does not mean I will simply watch and do nothing, but I will not interfere for the most part. I hope we never have to face each other from now on. It would only lead to the both of us suffering. God. Been a while since I've done an old man-ish voice. Angelo was the best artificial intelligence I had ever known. And you were the best architect that I was graced to meet. Back then, you simply could not let Carmen go. You were so desperate to keep Carmen on your side that you locked her in a cryostasis pod in an attempt to preserve her body at the very least. Hakno no Zebroid, can you see the future? Because Hokma is discussing the exact thing that was in the Snow Queen log. What are the goddamn odds of that? Oh my god. But during all this, you were perfectly aware that Carmen's body had become nothing but a shell. Our faces were full of grief, yet we still ransacked her body and dismembered her core. In fact, I was rather relieved when you began to create Angela. You were wholeheartedly immersed in something, just like you used to be. That day, when she opened her eyes for the first time, I remember you were just staring through the laboratory's glass, not setting a single foot inside. You might have thought that you noticed me right away. However, I witnessed you standing there for a long time before you realized I was there. What inner conflict made you hesitate so? What did you think after seeing that piece of humanoid machinery who did not display the warm smiles and gentle laughter Carmen had so naturally? I told you in so many words that no matter how many AIs such as Angela you create, none of them will ever be Carmen. Now poor Angela is merely assigned to direct us from a distance as we go through the motions of the play. If there is one thing I may have mistaken myself over, it is that I thought you overcame everything. The truth is that you never have. 10 days, the day with 10 or more employees whose justice is 100 in fire. That may actually be a problem. Is this the most useless ego research in the game? Because it kind of feels like it is. Oh. Never mind. It is not a problem. It is very much not a problem. Well, that's the end of today. It looks like we have one more prep week to do this last mission for Hokma, and also to squeeze in some last bits of training. And then after that, the Hokma core suppression. Pray for me. Because I'm pretty sure I'm running headfirst into my doom. So, I will see you all here next week. I will take that suggestion into consideration.